Ladies and gentlemen, I never thought that I would have to make this video, but here we are. Following the next patch, the best perk in the game will be, and this is not a meme, this is not a joke, it feels so incredibly wrong saying this, Lucky Break. I am not kidding you, I am not trolling you. You probably don't even know what this perk does. So I'm going to tell you what this perk does in its current state. So currently, this perk, when you get injured for the first time in a game, you no longer bleed for about 3 minutes. And once you are healed or taken to the dying state by the killer, it deactivates permanently for the rest of the game. It's a pretty terrible perk. It does almost nothing. Most people have this towards the bottom tier of the perk set. But in the next patch, it is getting changed, and my God, is it going to be strong. With the new change, instead of stopping blood for 3 minutes at its top rank, Lucky Break now hides scratch marks in addition to blood pools to help you lose the killer. And to compensate, the duration has been halved to 90 seconds. Now you might be thinking, well, Rob, what is the big deal with that? I mean, it's a minute and a half, and they lose their scratch marks, and they lose their blood until they either get downed or they get healed by themselves or another survivor. Why is this so busted? Now, if you play Killer as much as I do, you know that the first chase and the first few minutes of the game are the most important. Now, in the past, we've looked at perks that were blatantly just disgustingly overpowered and needed nerfs like Decisive Strike, and how it kind of comboed with Unbreakable, and how it gave you this feeling of invulnerability. And we even have talked about how Dead Hard is so strong, because when you need to close a chase, and you've invested time, then all of a sudden they get this kind of burst to get them to an extra pallet, reset the chase, and it's devastating, and it really sets you back because you've invested a lot of time. Now, when we're looking at the new Lucky Break, we are talking about a perk that every single survivor is guaranteed to have activated. This is a guaranteed perk. If you get hit or injured at any point in this game, and you're not instantly downed, you are going to get this effect. Now, when the survivor becomes injured, they are going to get a big boost of speed that all survivors get whenever they're injured. That's fairly normal, right? Now, with that big boost of speed, they are now going to be completely untrackable, with the exception of audio, for 90 seconds, for a minute and a half. If you combine this perk with Iron Will, which I suspect everyone will, there is no method that the killer can track you with other than physically seeing you, with their first-person vision, by the way, or by maybe getting lucky and hearing your footsteps or hearing you fall if you step off of a height and fall. Now, I don't know if you guys have experience of trying to track survivors without scratch marks or blood, like with after a dance with me. For example, it is extremely difficult for top-level killers. Sometimes it can be difficult to track survivors with scratch marks. We're talking about Iron Will and Lucky Break removing all indication. You are probably going to lose that survivor if they are good, because they're going to position themselves in a way where you lose line of sight, and they can just go wherever they want, and they can sprint wherever they want, and they will leave no indication. It is basically a full speed stealth perk. Now, that in itself is incredibly strong, but the timing of this perk is what makes it devastating. Your first chase needs to be quick. If you injure a survivor and you invest time into that initial chase, let's say you invest 35 seconds after spending 45 seconds just finding a survivor, you've already spent a minute and 20, 80 seconds to get a survivor injured. At this point in time, they get their speed boost, they're untrackable, you lose them. You have just lost your first chase about 90 seconds in the game. If the survivors on his team or her team are playing optimally, they might have 3 generators done. You could be down to 2 generators, and you have nothing to show for it. The fact that this perk gives you extreme escapability on your very first chase is devastating. This is going to maul killers at a high level. And there's not a whole lot of counterplay killers can do. It's not like there's a perk where killers can just force you to leave scratch marks or something. They literally go off the grid for 90 seconds during that first injury, and if you lose them, you got to go find another survivor. Now, imagine this, it gets even worse. Imagine all 4 players are running Lucky Break Iron Will, combined with 2 other perks of their choosing. You start your first chase, you injure the survivor after maybe 30 seconds, you lose that survivor because they're not leaving any scratch marks, they're not leaving any blood, they're weaving in between areas, you're losing line of sight on them, they're good survivors. You lose that survivor, you find another survivor. You spend maybe 20 seconds because you caught them out of position, you injure them. They then have Lucky Break and Iron Will too. You lose them. You could theoretically chase 3 or 4 survivors and lose your first 3 or 4 chases. The game is over if that's the case. You never have a chance because this perk gives them insane first chase value. It is like a decisive strike on your first chase, non-conditional. Because it's almost a get out of chase free card if the survivor plays right and if the killer doesn't guess or get lucky. So I'm legitimately worried about this perk, and I'm actually going to go ahead and call that this is a not is this perk going to get nerfed or readjusted, it is a when is this perk going to get nerfed or readjusted. Anyone who plays killer at a high level or plays this game frequently as killer knows a minute and a half of no scratch marks, that's going to be a real bad time. So I don't know how I feel about this. If you disagree or agreed, let me know in the comment section. But I am convinced this is the new meta. If you guys like this kind of content, go ahead, like the video, subscribe to me. I'm trying to put out more educational content and commentary as we go on. So hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you next time.